feel so, you have such lack of self-confidence, you feel so miserable, you want to pull everybody else in for your company. And therefore they just come in and take everything out because they're not white folks. But they're not giving you any more of a job than white folk are giving you. In fact, they're not giving you as many jobs as white folk get. The non-whites rob you even more. Yeah, you don't get anything out of them. Get out of this damn people of color. We are dealing with African people and people of African descent. This is yes. And those who may be of African descent and who choose not to identify themselves as such, we treat them as non-African. So we have these nations. They come into our communities and we let them in. You know, they would come in and we didn't let them in. They come in and we let them in, take everything out. And then we cannot go walk into what? Their nation and do that. They're going to block you at the border. If they let you in, you're going to leave something there, baby. There's somebody that's going to come around and extort you. You're going to have to pay some protection money. Yeah, you're going to have to pay something. You're not walking out of there with every nickel they got. They're not going to see their children starve and die in the name of Christian love or some other stupid thing. They walk 10 miles around you not to spend a nickel with you.
That's right.
They try as hard as they can not to give you one red cent if they can help you. Yeah. And therefore the African people are blocked from the markets of other people. Yes. And then we let them in and block us from our own market as a people. And consequently we are frozen out on both ends of the deal. And we wonder why the community is collapsing. We wonder why we can't take care of our families. We wonder why men cannot maintain responsibility to their children and to their wives and to their loved ones. It's no mystery. It's no big psychological, complicated issue. It's an issue of economics, an issue of the way we perceive ourselves and the way we relate to the world. And we can change that. But we must achieve an African-centered consciousness. We must achieve an African-centered identity. We must not give a hang whether people love us or not. We're not in the world to be loved by others. That's their problem. It's not ours. And our first effort there is not that of being loved by these other jokers, because they are loving us to death. Yes. We have the means to do this. And why are we in a buyer's market for our labor? The same reason why Africans are in a buyer's market for their commodities. Because we have what I call a vertical relationship with Europeans. Our wealth and our material earnings depends upon our relationships to Europeans. And therefore they can manipulate that relationship. But their relationship is not based solely on their wealth, and their power is not based solely on their relationship to African people. That's not a reciprocal relationship here. They do the greatest bulk of their trading with whom? Each other. Each other. They have what I call a lateral trade. They have capacity to trade with each other and to interact with each other in terms of community and trading block. Gives them a weight and leverage against others, you see. This is what it's about. But the African nations
What is good, my people? We are live back again with another live broadcast on the forecast. Um, now, I don't mean to come on here at this time. I meant to come on here earlier, but I got caught up with something. So But I still wanted to come on here anyway. So shouts out to my brother Guy for being in the building. I appreciate you, my brother. Glad you in the building. And shouts out to anybody else who gonna come, and anybody else listening to it on the replay or whatever. Yo, what's going on, Matron? Shouts out to Matron in the building. I appreciate you for coming on. And first of all, yo, let me say this, right? My last live, they took it down, um, because I don't know. So if they give me a strike, they took it away. But if they give me a strike, I want y'all to know, like, you can go to the other channel, the Forecast Radio 24. And like one problem that I do have a problem with it, like one thing I do have a problem with is like how all of these especially these white content creators like to use our pain and struggle and suffering to make money off of it in these channels. And like especially with my channel, I used to have to deal with this white boy all the time who loved to use black pain and suffering videos, but uh put a strike on you and stuff like that. And this is a whole industry. I mean, even because, like I said, I do got the book coming out. Hopefully in like 2 weeks. I know it's the first, and but I'm saying like the release date is I have to wait for something to come back. So it'll be within the next week or two that it's gonna actually be released. So, but one thing that I learned, just like a lot of material, especially like our history, like they have like this monopoly on, you know, just making money from it, writing books from it off of our history, and they make so much money. It's a whole industry where they make so much money off of our history, off of everything that they've done, and then they turn around and capitalize and profit off of it in every sense of the word. Um, well, anyway, I'm gonna get to it because I'm gonna go a little bit. I guess I ain't gonna go as long as I would have, but we're gonna get into a couple things. We're gonna keep going with the Black History thing leading up to it. So shouts out to God in the building, shouts out to Matron in the building, and I'm glad you back doing your readings. I appreciate that. So I'm just gonna get into it, y'all. All right. And I'll let this sister have the first words to open us up, you know.
I hate everybody else. I don't trust anybody else. Everybody had a chance to show their hand.
I'm gonna start it over.
I'm so pro-black that it will make you think that I hate everybody else. It's not that I hate everybody else. I don't trust anybody else. Everybody had a chance to show their hand. Everybody had a chance to show their hand in history, and they showed their ass. So, unfortunately, I don't really give a fuck how you feel. Yeah, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. Part of my growth over the past year is just simply accepting that these people exist and I have to live amongst them. I don't have to trust you. I barely have to respect you. So yeah, you're going to call me you're going to call me all the tisms and ists and antis that you can think of. And quite frankly, I don't give a fuck because it's always going to be black people first, then dogs, then hibiscus tea, and then everybody else. That at least over here. So, bitch, I'm so pro-black. I come off as...
Yeah, and listen, and not just that, there's a couple other things that we probably put up there first too. You know what I'm saying? But listen, man, until black people have this mindset right here, like we are seems to be doomed. Like I'm not gonna try to sugarcoat it. It seems that we are destined to be doomed by our this kind-hearted, loving nature and this one to be all of these things, you know. And last time I was talking about the whole Christian thing that they took off, but uh, that's a whole nother conversation. So anyway, let's continue on with the Black history. So we go on the next part now on like part 4 or whatever. So let's see where we
They
at.
have a specific area
that they study in, and they and control. And the first, a lot of the European Jews went to Brazil as well. And for a short time, the Dutch West India Company took over control of Brazil. But it was only a short period of time before Portugal took it back. Now, a lot of the first Portuguese that colonized Brazil were the Sephardic Jews. You know what I'm saying? They were some of the first people who got to Brazil. All right, so on this part here, I guess we're gonna get to the shysters a little bit. So we're gonna talk about that a little bit. But I'm gonna let it play a little bit more, so I'm not on here super long. And they've been there since like the 1490s or maybe the early 1500s. But a lot of the Jews that went to Brazil were called Marranos, which were basically Jews who were forced to convert to Christianity, but they still practiced Judaism in their private time. But it's no coincidence that Brazil is said to have brought in more slaves than anywhere else, especially when a lot of these Marranos start importing slaves. Now, when the Dutch West India Company took over Brazil for a little while, that's when a lot of the Dutch Jews acquired a lot of the sugar plantation and mills that they got on the land. And when they had control, anybody who came there paid less in taxes the more slaves that they had. And according to their records, between 1658 and 1674, the Dutch West India Company sent as many as 24,000 kidnapped Africans to the quote unquote New World, most of that being Brazil. Now, even though a lot of them try to downplay and say it was only a small percentage who owned plantations, although it's possible that they were half the population of Brazil at the time in that brief window, but they still had to admit that they were the predominant slave dealers and they often sold to people in auctions. Now, by the 1700s, the British was making more and more money and getting more and more powerful in the slave trade. And according to their scholars, by the 1700s, a lot of the Jews ended up having to buy sickly people and resell them when they got healthy so they can make a profit. Now, first of all, um, yeah, that's that shyster representation. They used to buy sickly people because they were cheaper, and then try to resell. I'm talking about us, our ancestors, who were sickly, so they can sell them for a profit. Right? They did the shyster stuff with us being the item, right? And a lot of things that they don't talk about is, and I guess I should have pulled it up, but I was rushing. But the shyster history in Brazil, and we know where the largest population of slaves, kidnapped people were taken, right? And the huge role that they had on that, because I think that we already talked about Wall Street and their role in that. And of course, I think somebody mentioned the West India Company. So there you go. Now, like I've been telling you, it wasn't just the Jews, even though they were involved like everybody else, but it was a competition. And Europeans often fought each other in this race to conquer us in our land. And by the 1700s, England had a little bit of an upper hand. Now, again, you can go and study European history and all of that, but we're not going to get into all of that. But there's a lot of death, destruction, disease, killing, murder, all of that going on throughout European history. But in 1713, Europeans started to realize that the. All right, so we see, I should have had, like, I guess, more stuff about Brazil and the history part. But we see the mentality that we got. And of course, today we got brothers who gonna issue an apology to him. I don't know if y'all seen this as far as Kanye West. He was like, he wanted to apologize to the shysters for all of his outbursts. I don't know if y'all seen this.
Kanye West is issuing an apology for his years of anti Semitic outbursts. The rapper, who now goes by Ye, took out a full-page paid advertisement titled To Those I've Hurt in the January 26th issue of the Wall Street Journal and began sharing some of his physical and mental challenges. 25 years ago, I was in a car accident that broke my jaw and caused injury to the right frontal lobe of my brain. At the time, the focus was on the visible damage, the fracture, the swelling, and the immediate physical trauma. The deeper injury, the one inside my skull, went unnoticed, he wrote, adding, comprehensive scans were not done, neurological exams were limited, and the possibility of a frontal lobe injury was never raised. It wasn't properly diagnosed until 2023. That medical oversight caused serious damage to my mental health and led to my bipolar type 1 diagnosis.
Now, by the way, this is a side note, right? Um, the medical and listen, this is why it's important for your own institutions. Why do people say all of this stuff? Because we don't have these institutions that we need, right? With education, finance, medical, all of these important fields that we need. We don't have the hospitals and the right. So even somebody who is quote unquote famous and rich and stuff like that. Well, I'm not sure if he was at the time, but um you don't get the same kind of treatment and care as you would get, like and we already know about the whole history as far as the medical side is concerned. But even when we go to the hospitals to get these treatments, if we in an accident, like well, my father had got into an accident, right? It was real bad, and he was in the hospital. They couldn't put the catheter on, right? You know, the treatment and care that we get is, let's just say, questionable at best.
Ye went on to detail the struggles he faces living with bipolar disorder. Denial. When you're manic, you don't think you're sick. You think everyone else is overreacting. He continued, adding, once people label you as crazy, you feel as if you cannot contribute anything meaningful to the world. He then claimed, citing the World Health
See, this must be why they try to gaslight us all the time. What do you say? Once people label you as crazy, you feel as if you cannot contribute anything into the meaningful to the world, right? And all people try to do is just gaslight us, like we're wrong, like we're tripping, like. And I'm not gonna lie, it's very annoying because just like I know now, we probably gonna get gaslit about all of this stuff that's going on right now. We're gonna get gaslit again, but we see how other people's respond when things happen to them, as opposed to the response that we may do or we may get. Um. But yeah, anyway.
world. He then claimed, citing the World Health Organization and Cambridge University, that people who share the diagnosis have a shorter life expectancy by 10 to 15 years on average and a 2 to 3 times higher all-cause mortality rate than the general population. Afterwards, the rapper admitted that he, quote, lost touch with reality, elaborating in part, things got worse the longer I ignored the problem. I said and did things I deeply regret. Some of the people I love the most, I treated the worst. He went on to address the Jewish community as he said that in a fractured state, he turned toward the most destructive symbol I could find, the swastika, and even sold t-shirts bearing it. I regret and am deeply mortified by my actions in that state and am committed to accountability, treatment, and meaningful change. It does not excuse what I did, though. I am not a Nazi or an anti-Semite. I love Jewish people, he added. Afterwards, Ye also apologized to the Black community, which he said held him down through all of the highs and the lows and the darkest of times, sharing, it is unquestionably the foundation of who I am. I'm so sorry to have let you down. I love us, he said. The Data 4 additionally disclosed that in 2025, he experienced a, quote, 4-month-long manic episode of psychotic, paranoid, and impulsive behavior that destroyed.
Now, first of all, this Jewish thing is it's a religion, not a group of people, right? It's not only they have this monopoly on, I guess it would be, I guess the way that y'all put it, on Jewish stuff, like how y'all be saying, but no, they don't have a monopoly on the religion thing. They probably stole it, in fact. Um, they don't have a monopoly on Semite, right? Because they aren't the only one that speaks Semitic languages, right? But they have this shyster thing, but somehow, see, Kanye West, I guess, represents black. We would throw each other under the bus, right? And the mental health issues for us is a part of that reason, you know. But see, I had um, and then you see situations, some like you know, your
Stop
sister,
wasting money on recruiters.
right? How we are part of every other community but our own, right? But do you think she'd be accepted into this community? And what you think would happen when they say whatever? But my other question is, like, why, if Jewish is his own race, why would she say black Jewish? You know what I'm saying? That's a whole nother issue there. Now that there's no more money for him to make being a conservative, he's pivoting to something else. Look at the women he wow, that's a mouthful right there. Look at the women he selects. That's where his heart is. He wants to be rich enough to be white. Yeah. Good luck with that. He gonna end up apologizing. Like you said, don't ever fix your lips like collagen to say something when you gonna end up apologizing. So he did apologize. But even in their communities, right? Because I guess I did a whole lot of stuff about them before, about the shyster history and all of that stuff. But anyway, let's just see.
And we're continuing to highlight stories of queer leaders in our community as we mark LGBTQ plus History Month.
And this evening, we're shining a spotlight on Rabbi
Uh,
Sandra Lawson. She's the executive director of Carolina Jews for Justice.
Now hold on. This is because none of this makes sense. A black woman who calls herself Jewish and she's also gay, which would go against the doctrine.
Spotlight on Rabbi Sandra Lawson. She's the executive director of Carolina Jews for Justice, and she spent years fighting for more diversity among Jewish religious leaders.
The time for action is now. The call to conscience is clear, and we will not be silent.
I wrote this song because people often ask me about faith.
There's racial bias in the Jewish community. The idea that Jews are white is a myth.
What does faith
No, the white ones are white.
I can walk into a Jewish space and not be tracked as Jewish or not be tracked as rabbi. And that's a superpower that I have because I can just sort of go under the radar in many ways.
Sometimes my life is so hard.
When people know that I am a rabbi, it depends. Like often people don't believe that, or they try to challenge me in some kind of way, which is kind of sad.
Your faith is when you walk in a room.
I'm Rabbi Sandra Lawson. I'm the executive director of Carolina Jews for Justice. A lot of Jews in this country still believe that it, maybe not intellectually, but in their sort of consciousness, think that Jews have a certain last name, have a particular look, and all those things are really from.
What up, my brother Anthony? What's going on, my brother? Yeah, I'm not sure. She knows what she is. You know, she is black, gay, Jewish, all sorts of things. You know, and see when it's time for you to stand up for somebody, for everybody else but you. You know what I'm saying? Like we will try to fit into every other community but our own, right? And then the minute that you try to complain, like, hey, this is some kind of bias towards me, right now is a problem, you know.
Lineage called Ashkenazi, which translates to like Eastern Europe. And faith is when they lost.
Like I don't know what she's
I was
doing.
ordained in 2018. My first sort of professional roles as a rabbi were mostly as a chaplain for seniors. And I took that experience and became the associate chaplain for Jewish life at Elon.
Only Negro in the building.
2021. That was, after Breonna Taylor, George Floyd. It was just the culture was incredibly different considering where we are now. I was doing a lot of public speaking, helping predominantly white Jews understand that current moment. Like I had conversations with rabbis and the Jewish leaders saying, hey, I thought racism was over. Why are people angry? Why are people protesting in the street? Or I've always known.
She thought it was over.
I've done nothing, and I feel bad about it. What can we do about it? So I started having some conversations with Reconstructing Judaism, which is an umbrella organization where I was ordained. We were ordaining more Black and brown rabbis, and we had more Black and brown rabbinical students. We need more rabbis and
Oh, do we have a problem with our is when you say black, do you have to say in brown or something? Why in the hell does that? It's just like when you say in brown, that's so irritating to me. Like I can't, black people just can't say it. Black, well, I should say black and brown. I can't even say black without saying in brown. It's crazy to me. Like, is this like a speech impediment or something?
with white bearded men. And you have more women rabbis, you have more queer rabbis. I would have said in my 20s and 30s, I was definitely an activist. I think today I might call myself more of an advocate.
All right, whatever. Look, I couldn't do it, whatever. But then you have people like, well, I guess this.
I would love that.
Tell me, by way of background, the article.
See, I can't do this. But her thing is why HBCUs are the key to fighting anti-Semitism. So she wants HBCUs to be the face of fighting anti-Semitism. Right? It's always Negroes like this in the building. You know what I'm saying? In the middle of it's people who say black and brown. To be black is not enough, so they gotta add others. Yes, it's a form of self-hatred, not feeling enough. And then we got to always fight for everybody else. The same people who have done all of this stuff to us historically, we've got to fight them.
Listen, not in my New York, not in my America, should anyone feel ashamed to wear the symbol of their faith. And
we got to fight for everybody but ourselves. Every single other group has a black representation, or this isn't right, but let me say what this young lady said at the beginning here. Like, let me play what she said here again.
Anti-Semitic. I come off as racist, which I can't be. I'm so pro-black that it will make you think that I hate everybody else. It's not that I hate everybody else. I don't trust anybody else. Everybody had a chance to show their hand. Everybody had a chance to show their hand in history, and they showed their ass. So, unfortunately, I don't really give a fuck how you feel. Yeah, I don't give a fuck. Part of my growth over the past year is just simply accepting that these people exist and I have to live amongst them. I don't have to trust you. I barely have to respect you. So yeah, you're going to call me you're going to call me all the tisms and ists and antis that you can think of. And quite frankly, I don't give a fuck because it's always going to be black people first, then dogs, then hibiscus tea, and then everybody else. That at least over here. So, bitch, I'm so.
All right, and she forgot like trees and water and all type of stuff. So this lady here talking about HBCUs being the key to fighting anti-Semitism, she's tripping, right? But then when we talk about it on the other hand, when we're talking about black people, listen to what she has to say now.
Because there is this language of victimhood among people who have no idea what it truly means to be a victim, right?
Now, when we talk about us, we have this victimhood thing while she's telling us to fight for other people who have this victimhood thing, right? I guess theirs is valid, I guess, to her. But in the midst of telling us to use HBCUs, well, anyway. See, she's talking about, the connection between historically black colleges and fight and Semitisms and stuff like that. But while she's telling us that, we can't even say what they've done to us, first and foremost. That's anti-Semitic. We know that. But we can't even talk about our issues. Yeah, they were co-opted a long time ago. HBCUs can discuss anything but real black people issues, discuss the world issues, right? But when it comes to what we're supposed to be talking about,
I think number two, you would also be disappointed, I think, in the state of Black America, full stop. Because
yo, what's going on, bro?
What's up, man?
Hey, now, how you doing, bro?
You chilling, man? Doing all right? Sitting here looking at a little basketball game. One of my homeboys, and we just sitting there, handling business over here. You just chilling, man. Yeah.
Okay, that's what's up.
Everything been going good?
Yeah, everything good, my brother.
Yeah. Hey, and peace to everybody in the chat, man. Peace to the matron. I see the matron out there, man. Yeah.
Yeah, shouts out to the matron,
Yeah.
the revolutionary matron.
Yeah, the revolutionary matron. But yeah, I'm just looking at the video, man. It's yeah, it's typical, man. It's typical of those those Negroes who fight for the working class people of the world, and for you know what I'm saying, and for the oppressed people of the world. Everybody except for the oppressed black people. You know what I'm saying? And then turn around talk about what she was talking about a victim, it's just, we done heard it so much, man. We hear it all the time. We hear it from people who's supposed to be like-minded brothers and sisters like us, and we hear it from Negroes who don't have real no black consciousness. It's just a trip, man. But yeah, yeah. I mean, you can go ahead and let the video play, man. It's just I just like
Yeah, definitely, my brother. And by the way, that reminded me when you said something. Yo, I had a side question for Matron, but I forgot it. It was something about like Jesus. It was like a question, but I forgot it. If I remember it. But anyway, now we supposed to be fighting for them. Now listen to what she says about us when we're supposed to be fighting for us, right?
you would also be disappointed, I think, in the state of Black America, full stop. Because there is this language of victimhood among people who have no idea what it truly means to be a victim, right?
That's only shysters.
I watched a young man try to talk about institutional racism and things that are happening to him, and he says, well, sometimes I get bad looks. And I'm like, again,
Now she's saying how institutional stuff isn't real while sitting there talking about anti-Semitism. Ain't that something like talking about victimhood, right? And while talking about shysters being mad that they're being called shysters. You know what I'm saying? Like people that get caught stealing, we shouldn't call them out and how we're supposed to stand up for that. But when it comes to institutional issues that affect us, is a victim mentality and we don't understand it. I guess our non-white Jewish mind couldn't possibly understand.
I grew up with my grandfather. I get off the sidewalk.
what I was going to say. That woman probably married to a Jew. You know what I'm saying? She probably married to a Jewish guy, a Jewish guy. She probably is. Just think about it. It's the same kind of thing that you'll hear like a Candace Owens or hear some of these other sisters who married a white man talk. Tia. I mean, not Tia, man, but Tamara Mara. When she was that shit she was saying on that little show where they be on. I mean, they talk. It's actually they man speaking for them. You know what I'm saying? The man speaking through them. Like you say, how she's downplaying the black struggle and then upplaying the Jewish struggle. You know what I'm saying? It's that's something that she been taught. That her man had told her she really speaking for a man, but she's speaking for whatever Jewish people that she's tied to. You know what I'm saying? That's you could tell that's obvious. That's obvious. You could tell. I guarantee she probably in a relationship with a white man, with a Jewish person or whatever, or a Jewish woman or whatever. You ain't no telling. I seen a whole bunch of that rainbow shit. know what you was talking about too. So it ain't, she it's their talking points. You know what I'm saying? It's their talking points coming out of her mouth. That's all I want to say. Yeah.
Yeah, all facts, you know. Um, ain't no telling my brother who or what or it could be. And Mason said, facts, so many black thought leaders are in bed with white people. Yeah. And like, well, really, they just on the street, like kissing their butts, like pulling down their pants and like literally like lips to ham pots.
Walk fast enough, I was killed. Like, that's what he grew up with. So they didn't smile at you when you went into Brooks Brothers. Like, America's come a long way.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
America's come a long
Speaking
way.
of
The worst racism that happens to you is maybe
gay
a white
stuff.
person gives you a dirty look. Woo, right? Like, you're gonna be all right. And I think he would be disappointed in some of our, today Black literacy is lower now than it was 100 years after slavery.
Wow.
By the way, that's not true. More like, you know how many black people could not read back then? You know what I'm saying? Like even our grandparents' age, you know, compared to today. That's not true for like anything, like especially with technology the way that it is today. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, yo, and I just had this one from a long time ago. I guess it's the importance of creating your own institutions in the first place.
Out there. Go to Wix and make it yours.
Oh, especially
Claim
so we
your
don't have
space online.
commercials in it.
Own your name, your brand, your breakthrough.
One of the largest income gaps in the nation, which means by design or default, low-income students prepared questions, but I think I'm going in a very different direction. We've heard other colleagues talk about the NAEP scores, and I heard you say that the president was angered and embarrassed by these, and I think we all should be. But when you disaggregate those scores, they clearly show that low-income students score significantly lower than their white and higher income peers, and that is mostly in part to ongoing disparities in educational access and quality, which makes much of what I'm hearing today that much more relevant. You mentioned Connecticut. We both come from the state of Connecticut. Connecticut relies on property taxes to fund education. And we have one of the largest income gaps in the nation, which means by design or default, low-income students face multiple challenges, including limited access to resources and opportunities outside of schools, which is why I don't understand many of the decisions made in this budget. One of my colleagues asked, about collecting data on family composition and background. The Department of Education Office of Civil Rights is mandated by law to do that. I was pleased to hear you say that states do not, the Department of Education does not control curriculum, instructional materials, the teachers that are hired, which makes your words contradictory because every argument you have is to put local control back into the states. But states already have local control, as anyone who has any knowledge or background of education would already know. Student education programs, when you couldn't even answer a question about Ruby Bridges or the election of President Biden, which are as basic as it gets. So I really, really don't understand it. But you are making the argument for me because when you respond to questions from my colleagues by saying that sounds like an issue for state legislatures, that is why the Office of Civil Rights is necessary, because state legislatures made the decision that Ruby Bridges did not have the right to a free and appropriate, or the role of the department, not to dictate local curriculum instruction or instructional materials, but to make sure that those things are carried out by the department. That states follow the law, that they are doing those things. So 49 million children in this country receive public education services. About 3 million children are in charter schools. There are not enough charter school slots. So my questions are mainly focused on what about those other 46 million children? So it's mind blowing. I hear you talk about safety, keeping students safe on school campuses, but not a word about the 390,000 students who have been affected by gun violence. I was in the classroom on the day Sandy Hook happened, and the federal and LGBTQ students twice, not one I try to be supportive of what the Department of Education does because I need for you to succeed, for my students to succeed. But when you come in and say your final
Or you
mission
can get a black
is to
score, I
eliminate
guess.
the department, it says to me that the 46 million children that are not receiving services do not matter. I've ran out most of my time, but this bill defunds literacy programs, eliminates 21st Century Community Learning Center, eliminates preschool grants for children with disabilities, eliminates reduces funding for career and technical education, like all of these things. I'm going to ask you two really quick questions. Do you think that Holocaust education in our schools is a DEI program? There's no card for that. That's just yes or no.
I can look at whatever card.
Holocaust education, is it a DEI? You can have a press conference to say whatever you want. I just need a quick answer to
Your
this.
soliloquy
Is Holocaust, because this is my time, is Holocaust education a DEI program?
No.
Is African American Studies a DEI
I
program?
think I answered that with one.
I'm asking it again.
We should be
Just
able,
yes or no.
We should be able to teach.
My
courses in their
point is
entirety.
they are DEI programs, both of them, because students need diversity, equity, and inclusion to understand their environments. So
All right, so we definitely need to include the shysters in it. But listen, when we talk about the curriculum, you always going to have a problem in somebody else's system, right? Especially a system that's designed to make you be a worker or AKA a slave if you don't want to tell the truth about what it is, you know? And the system is designed to have even them to be like their workers. And a lot of these private schools, which they send their children to, they teach them about business, finance, money, all kinds of stuff at a young age. Like I'm going to Richmond Public School. I can't tell you where none of that on the map. I couldn't tell you who Ida B. Wells was. I could, you know, what? Anyway, the books that we had didn't even have the current president in, right? So the issues that we have and will continue to have with the education system does that, you know. But anyway, you want to say something, bro?
Yeah, it's the American public food system. You know what I'm saying? It ain't the public school system. It's the public food system. It's the miseducation system. I mean, you know, Carter G. Woodson, Dr. Carter G. Woodson told us about that. You know, when he wrote that book, The Miseducation of the Negro. So I mean, like, and Malcolm said, you know, how can you expect your enemy to educate your children? No, the education of our children, of our black children, can only come from us. And that's we got to start that at home. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, like shout out to sisters like Queen Thais, you know, who have her black homeschooling network. And you know, the Kamali Academy, this brother down here in New Orleans and Louisiana, you know, he got one. You know, and other people, Baba Amin them, you know. So I mean that's we got to finally come to the realization of that forecast. Only we can educate our children. You know, matter of fact, we do our children a disservice sending them to these motherfucking schools. You know what I'm saying? We do them a disservice sending them to these schools.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, we, you know, how we used to say, you know, okay, you know, how our children going out there in the world, you know, we're trying to prepare them to go out there in the world. Well, we handicapping them really. We sending them out there handicapped. You know what I'm saying? I mean, just like right here, like in my community, you know, I got a school right up the street from me, Hollywood Elementary School. It's a middle school. It's they didn't change the name of it, but I went to that school. My brother right there, my homeboy sitting right. We both went to that school back in the 70s. You know what I'm saying? And I could remember even back then, you know, though we had like black kids, because it's a predominantly black school, it's a black neighborhood. And you know, back then, you know, you know, the busing thing, you know, they had the busing thing going on, but you know, over here it was a black school. And so we had black teachers. And we had teachers that went that extra mile, you know, outside of the curriculum and taught us things. That's how, you know, I got to know a lot of stuff. You know, a lot of things that I do later on. But I mean, even today, you know, they don't even have that. You know what I'm saying? Today, I mean, even a lot of the teachers right now, even the black teachers, haven't been educated in real black history. You know, they like that general stuff, Martin Luther King and civil rights movement. I'm talking about our real history. So, like I'm saying, you know, I mean, it's a miseducation system. No matter, it ain't nothing that the American government can do to fix that. You know, because like I said, your enemy not gonna educate your children to to go against them. And that's something that we got to do. So, I mean, no matter what black politician they get up there and grandstand and talk about DEIs and all this old bullshit, all this old stuff that really is meaningless. You know what I'm saying? Because we still sending our children to that same old miseducation system. You know what I'm saying? So that shit don't mean nothing. They can talk to they blue in the face and talk about this and that. You know what I'm saying? The only education that our children go get is going to come from us, and it has to come from us.
Yeah, that's all facts, and shouts out to Queen Thais, and all of the black people out there who trying to do something. And if we had half of the support that we give all of these other groups and other politicians and everything except for ourselves, we would be if we give ourselves 5% of our own energy, we'd be cooking with grease at that point. Like you make it 10%, we'll get some fire in there too. But it's like you said, my brother. These schools is designed to be that. You know what I'm saying? They're not designed to make people smart enough to realize they're being conned and scammed and having their stuff taken from them. You know what I'm saying? They just for because it's uh, anyway. This is why it's important for us to talk about our own history because they're not going to look at it especially from our point of view, right? And we're talking about DEI and all of this other stuff because ultimately it is our dream to be down with white people, right? And I graduated school in 2005, and by then we was thoroughly quote unquote integrated to where black teachers ain't pulling me to the side. So that was good that they did that with y'all. Cause they didn't, ain't nobody like, yo, let me pull you to the side. Let's tell you about this lady Ida B. Wells and what she did, or Marcus Garvey, or none of this stuff. I didn't hear about none of this stuff until I looked at it on my own. You know what I'm saying? And your time that you're going to get your mind shaped the most is when you are a child, and when you are a child being sent to their institutions, because even like the studies do show, like black children walk faster, they talk faster, they do everything until they go to school, and then they be like, yo, I don't like science, I don't like this, I don't like that. But then you give them a black teacher who shows them how to do this, then you have black people creating all sorts of stuff, you know what I'm saying, to get you off their gasoline, you know what I'm saying, to get you off of their power systems, right? People to know how to develop whatever resources that we can get, because all of that stuff is important, but they need to be able to be in control of the resources to control the world, right? And they need you to realize like they can't beat you, right? So they need you to want to try to join them, because you can never win that game. But if you ever be like, yo, let me control it for myself, then you can easily crush them. You know what I'm saying? Remember, they are less than 10% of the world population, but have committed over 90% of the crimes against humanity. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, I'm not going too much far. Well, I guess like about 10 more minutes. I'm gonna let it play so that we could get through the rest, because I think it's only like 2 more points, and then we're gonna get off. The more they fought each other, the harder it was to conquer us in our land. So in 1713, a bunch of European countries ended up signing a treaty called the Treaty of Utrecht.
Once upon a time, Europeans were great in making art and war. There was even art about war. The 30 Years' War, the
Polish-Ottoman War, the Portuguese Restoration War, the First and Second English Civil War, the First, Second, and Third Anglo-Dutch War, the War of
and when King Charles II of Spain died in 1700,
White on white crime, y'all.
war became an even more serious business. Europeans have fought all over the world. Canada, Cuba, India, South America, and of course, on every centimeter of Europe. In earlier centuries, peace was only
And in the
restored
ocean,
if
too.
one guy won a battle, and the loser was stripped of all of his belongings.
We won, I killed all of you, the war is over. No, you didn't.
But in the 18th century, you could win battles, but still not win and stop the war itself. So, after 10 years of World War, the people of Europe decided it was time to see if maybe talk could stop the war.
By the way, they don't even count Neanderthal history. I guess they only go back to like Rome and Greece and all that stuff. They only count their wars there. But Neanderthals killed each other too. So
Last signature was set. This time, peace lasted. And more importantly, a new model was created to solve conflicts in the following centuries. And some things have evolved well.
Now, we really won't be doing this justice unless we take a moment to recognize a
damn, I'm on mute. Probably messed it up while I stopped him. But he said a world war in the 1600s, right? So when we're talking about world wars, it probably has been already like 15 of them. So when we're saying World War III, like that's what Europeans do, and right when they have these treaties and stuff like that, when have they not fought each other? So that's not true.
total difference in perspective. So you have your First Nations, and they've been living off the land for years, but they don't consider themselves the owners of the land. They don't think any human can own land. They use the land, they live off the land, they build their structures on the land and live there, but they don't consider themselves the owners of that land because no one can own land. The French and the British, however, have a very different perspective, much closer to how we view land today. Think about it. If your parents own a house, they consider that small patch of land their property. They own it. So you can imagine how some of those early conversations would have went. Right, tell me, good sir, can you please inform me as to who is the owner of this land? Nobody is the owner of this land. So what you're saying is that nobody owns this land. Yeah, nobody owns this land. Can you believe this guy? Just one more time to confirm, you do not own this land. No. And so upon hearing that nobody owned the land, even though the First Nations and the French and the British were having completely separate conversations because of their differences in perspective.
Now, this treaty was essentially like the first Berlin Conference, for those of you who know about the Berlin Conference. And we're going to come to that eventually. But this is one of the first times that a bunch of warring European countries agreed to work together instead of fighting each other to conquer us. Now, since England was winning a little bit, the treaty gave them exclusive rights to ship slaves to Spanish colonies. So instead of fighting the Spanish, the British, the Portuguese, the French, the Dutch, now some people use the phrase on code. And this is one of the first examples you see of Europeans getting on code against us. Now, back in what would become America, by 1715, Maryland said every Negro who came into their colony from then on were slaves for life, and their descendants would be slaves for life, and so on and so on. Now, France also profited off the treaty, and they were able to start shipping in slaves to Louisiana in 1716, as well as enslaved. Oh, yo, so I'm glad you got on here at this point too, my brother, because we're gonna talk about Louisiana for a second. But before I do that though, um, I ain't gonna go into this because you have let's see.
In this episode, we will delve into the treaty that formed European geopolitics in the 18th century. The Treaty of Utrecht unfolded during a period of complex alliances and conflicts in Europe, known as the War of the Spanish Succession. The death of King Charles II of Spain.
Anyway, basically, white on white crime, right? And then they realize, well, we can come together to kill them and take their stuff. You know what I'm saying? And then you had the birth of what is known as pan-Europeanism, right? Because we always hear about this, right? But see, other groups realize, like, even though they fight each other, right? See, this is the thing that we fight each other. I get it, right? But what they have learned to do is put aside their tribal differences in order to conquer and kill and destroy and be in control and take everything, right? And if we could somehow learn to stop our tribal differences and be able to do that, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'll let you, if you want to jump in because I ain't gonna play this whole thing. Right. So he's talking about peace requires pan European security, right? But anyway, you want to say something, my brother?
Yeah, I was just okay. No, I was just checking out, the video, man. That's a nice video, man. You always come up with some good shit. But I'm saying, if you think about it, now they like you said, they would come together. No, they would be fighting. They fought wars. Look, they fought the 100 Years War. They fought the 30 Years War. They fought the War of the
6,000
Roses.
year war.
Yeah, I mean, they fought all kind of wars, and like I would just read about some of them, like the 30 Years War, and how like 8 million people got killed during that war. You know what I'm saying? 8 million Europeans, and I mean they fought all kind of wars. They fought the War of Spanish Succession, and I'm talking about. I know you probably ran across that, the War of Spanish Succession. They fought the French and Indian War, and these were wars that they were fighting against each other. The British, the French, and the British against the Spaniards. During colonialism, during enslavement. Why they was bringing our black ass from Africa over here, and why they was genociding the indigenous people. You know what I'm saying? And colonizing everyone, enslaving our asses. They was fighting each other then, even then. Like they had, this was the golden age of pirateers, where your Blackbeards. Most of those pirates was English guys. You know what I'm saying? British guys preying on Spanish shipping. You know what I'm saying? And because Spain and England had, they had a big they had a power. It was a power grab between them, to see who was going to control all of the everything over here in the so-called New World. So I mean, they had just came off of that war where they had off the coast of England with a Spanish Armada. I know you read about that. You know what I'm saying, and which was a big disaster for the Spaniards, and really kind of like started the downward spiral of the Spaniards as a world power, and as a power in the Americas, in the New World and everything. Like I said, they had been fighting each other. They had all kind of wars and everything, man. And the thing about it to me was that what we still don't realize as black people, man, is that even when they, like I say, when they had those wars, and it opened up the way for rebellions of enslaved African people, like in Haiti, and I'm not talking about the one in the 1790s and early 1800s, the ones before that in Jamaica, the Virgin Islands, and all of these places all over the Caribbean, all over Central and South America. They still would stop what they're doing to come together, to put down those slave rebellions. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like you said, they still whatever they would still stop what they're doing to come and take care of business take care of white folks' business. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, facts. Like at the end of the day, they will always fight each other. It's like all these treaties to them, even to each other, are meaningless. So trying to find a treaty with Neanderthal is dumb as hell in the first place. It probably gonna be in all likelihood of everything that's happened in history. If somebody asks you, if a European especially, but any other group asks you to sign a treaty, it's probably a trap, and it's probably gonna get poisoned or kidnapped or something. You know what I'm saying? So don't take the deal. I'm trying to tell you. But they don't even agree, accept once they do it
Yeah.
with the treaties with themselves. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? They still fight, kill, destroy each other, right? They
Yeah.
still do the same thing. If you want to be real, the Russians are the original Caucasoids, if you want. I'll just say that, But anyway. And this was another part I was supposed to play. I was supposed to say something too before that. I said something else in the video about, I don't remember. But listen, man, for us, on the other hand, right? I meant to play this when we was talking about the shysters too, you know what I'm saying? And I forgot what I wanted to ask about Jesus.
Wait a minute. The most praying continent on this planet, Earth, is Africa. Most praying, if you research and if you see it. Most churches, every 600 meter or 100 meter or 1 kilometer, you will find a church. Most poorest continent is Africa. Why? Do you have answer?
White people killed.
We don't need churches.
Yeah.
We don't need temples. I'm pastor myself. We need schools. We need hospitals. We need industries. That is where the life is. God is not telling you to build church and pray me there. You pray where you are. You need correct policies to change the people's life. By praying, if it is changed, then we cannot be poor. God says you can't just pray, you work. Make the policies. If I'm wrong, please tell me.
No, you're saying the truth.
It's a bitter truth. We believe that we go to church or a temple or mosque, our problem will be sorted out. No, then we cannot be poor. We could be the richest. And we have the most mineral deposit in the world. Look at the opposite. These people outside, they don't have anything, but they are richer.
Because they see the opportunities there.
There is no churches like what we have. That means not that they are not Christian.
No.
They are Christian.
They are.
They do pray. But the priority is not only the prayer and praying and then you come out. No. The priority is to build the churches, build the industries, promote the employment, reduce your deficits by creating that investments. Schools, education, science, technology. These are the important things.
I think you sent that to me, didn't you? Anyway, but yeah, that's why it's important when we was talking about the whole education thing, right? Yeah, and the problem is we are very, very spooked out, right? We are very smart, but also very, very spooked out. Anyway, yo, you want to say something?
Yeah, man. Yeah. Hey, hold up for a minute. Go ahead on roll the video.
All right. But yeah, we are the most praying people, right? But the thing is, man, it's the tangibles, you know what I'm saying? And that's why I was talking about with all of these coalitions and all of these alliances, right? It's tangible things that has to be accomplished. Like why are you aligning with somebody? Why are you giving your money to somebody? Why are you giving your vote to somebody? Why are you doing anything that you might be doing? You know what I'm saying? It's the tangible thing, right? But so often we have what they call faith, um hope in things that's unseen, right? And instead of actually taking action, because maybe that's escapism, why we try to save everybody else, why we try to uplift everybody else, you know. But for the most loving group to not even be able to practice our own form of uh, pan whateverism, pan Africanism, pan Europeanism, even if we are fighting amongst ourselves to realize that, hey, I don't care if it's an Arab, I don't care if it's the East Indian, I don't care if it's a white bitch from California, right? I and I put it like this, right? Like even on a topic, right? I might not agree with something, right? A black person who is this, right? I am not this thing. I disagree with this thing. And this other person agrees with my point about this thing. I'll never tolerate the white person disrespecting, or white thing, you know, disrespecting this black person, even though me and that person, no, I agree with this black person. And it is what it is because it is black first, you know what I'm saying? But um uh I don't know if you're still there, my brother. You can jump in whenever you want to say something.
Okay, as I was taking care of something real quick. Give me a
Oh, it's
couple of
all good.
minutes.
All right, it's all good. So I'm gonna go back enslaving the indigenous population. And by 1718, they were able to create the city of New Orleans. And even though South Carolina had a higher slave population, Louisiana started to have more slaves than white people in the territory. Now, in 1721, South Carolina limited voting to white males who own land only, but the French was already used to it. Some say the French colonies in Saint-Domingue, now Haiti, and other French colonies was some of the most brutal when it came to slavery. So in 1724, the French brought the Code Noir to New Orleans.
Because the island of Guadeloupe was doing this, the Guadeloupe was doing this, Haiti was doing that, St. Lucia was doing something else. And so he said, no, everybody's going to treat their slaves the same. So he comes up with the Black Code, or the Code Noir.
Now, I want you to understand this because that was another point I forgot to say, right? And even though they was the French, they was the Spanish, they had all of these wars that we talk about because that's what Europeans do. They have war, white on white crime, right? Less than 10% of the population committed over 90% of the crimes against, especially humanity, but crimes against the world, period. You know what I'm saying? Um, they all do the same thing when it comes to us. They have the same code noir, you know what I'm saying, or the slave codes, right? It didn't matter which tribe it was, right? They put aside their tribal differences when it came to us and then went back to fighting each other, right? And so when we try to be like this one is lesser of this lesser of two evils here, you know what I'm saying? And I don't understand that concept, you know what I'm saying? Because it's all evil, right? There is no lesser. It just is, you know. And it's just like you fighting a revolutionary war. Who I'm gonna go with? The Canadians or the Americans? Well, didn't matter. You know what I'm saying? When I wanted to go to the elect, who should I? It didn't matter. You know what I'm saying? When I wanted to pick a side in any one of these wars, it did not matter because they all practice anti-me behavior. You know what I'm saying? They all goal was to kill me, you know. So it didn't matter which side it was.
So, which king was it? King Louis of France.
Okay.
So he comes up with the Code Noir. Now, there was hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of things in the Code Noir. For example, slave owners had only 7 days. Now, again, this is early period slavery, so you have to understand that some of this is going to lose its value. But a slave master only had 7 days to bring the heathen to Christ once he arrived there, which means that you pretty much had to teach him about Catholicism because they had to be converted to Catholicism as a Catholic country, and so
You had 7 days to get him to believe, drop his whole history, his religion, his language, and all of that stuff, and convert to his religion, to pray to his God. And to results today, we are the most praying country in, I don't know, Brazil probably second, the south of, well, I don't know, wherever black people are, it's the most praying it is.
so you had a priest to come in to make them understand about Christ and all of that. So by law, you only had 7 days to do that. Also in the Black Code, slaves could have Saturday afternoon and Sundays off. Under the original Black Codes, no child under 13
Oh, and get the weekend off, yeah.
And if the parents had had a legally sanctioned marriage
Sound like your
and
job.
recognized by the church or in the church, then husband and wives could not be separated. Now, also under the Black Code, it is mandated too, though, that women of color have to wear a tie-on. Now, this is
a tie-on?
This is going to manifest itself here as well. A tie-on is a head wrap. So when you think about every picture of every slave woman you've ever seen, that's because it came out of the original Black Codes. Part of this is at that time.
See, and this is a part of the dehumanizing process, probably why part of why we think the way that we think. You know what I'm saying? Like, and she's talking about like how on every picture you see like a scarf on a black woman's head. You know what I'm saying? And even to this day, we got debates about should a woman wear a bonnet or not. You know, because to dehumanize everything, our natural hair that grows out of our head, they call that unprofessional, right? Because this system ain't designed for us in the first place, right? You have to put things and chemicals in your hair that's meant to like give you cancer and kill you. Like that's how sick they are, right? To the point where they will take it all the way to putting the chemicals in your hair and tell you you can't get a job with this hair you got, right? And of course they want to destroy the beauty of the black woman, but which is funny because they didn't even, they would make rules that black women couldn't even have soap sometimes, you know what I'm saying? But they still would rather rape a black woman than to mess with a nasty white bitch, you know what I'm saying? Let's be real. But that's one of the things, right? It's always been this attack on black women and stuff like that, and of the black family and the separation of the family, you know what I'm saying? Because to keep us divided in every aspect, because one of the most important aspects is the family unit. We know that, you know, we see what happens without a father. So I guess nature was smart to make it be like, okay, you got to have a mother and a father, right? We can't just have a baby on our own, you know.
Time, they believed that a woman's glory was her hair, and it was supposed to detract from the beauty of all these, mulatto women if they have their hair tied up. Okay, so a tie-on is mandated under the black codes. So again, just go back as far as you want to, and you'll see that these women's hair is tied up. All right. And so this is to the end of slavery. Any picture of black woman you see in the big house or anywhere, they've got these on their head.
The African slaves brought to Louisiana during the French period came overwhelmingly from Senegambia. The count is 70% of the slave trade ships and 2/3 of the slaves came from Senegambia.
One of the things that was very, very interesting about the group that came in.
See, this is an interesting point, which I don't know if it's counted or not, right? Because the thing that they don't tell you about a lot of the numbers and the histories and stuff like that, because Europeans screw up statistics and then use it against you, right? And they make it up and then like use their own method, quote unquote methodology, right? So most of the stuff that you hear about for America, quote unquote America, is from the British colonies, right? But then you had the Spanish, you had the French, all of these people. So do the slaves that they brought over count in this number of all the slaves they was brought in, or did they only count what the British brought in when they said that? You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Um, I don't know if my brother here. I know he's busy right now, but I guess I would ask him that. But um, I'll just keep going until he come back.
Was their introduction of gumbo to the culture. They brought in a method of cooking what they call the fish stew or kumbo. And as a result of adding some Indian spices like sassafras, which we call nafile, and then the French contributing their ruse and another type of gravy, then because we come up with the gumbo, which is almost universal to southern Louisiana.
I'll be seeing all the videos you be sending me too, brother.
Their Caribbean descent, part of Louisiana's cultural gumbo. They proved to be indispensable in building the colony.
Highly skilled people. And they knew how to cultivate all the crops which were important to Louisiana, including rice and indigo, tobacco, corn. They were quite good at navigating treacherous rivers and building and maintaining boats and in metalworking.
Soon the slaves were forced to put those skills to work in the construction of a new city.
Now, these slave codes, the Code Noir, have been in. Now, they're talking about New Orleans, the building of New Orleans, right? So, and the Ming since 1685. Now, these slave codes forced every slave to be baptized and convert to Roman Catholicism or submit to the Roman Catholic Church. Any other religion was forbidden. They even punished the slave owners if they allowed a slave to practice a different religion. Now, of course, the child still inherited the status of the mother, but slaves couldn't get married without permission. But once married, they couldn't be separated. Slaves were only allowed to carry weapons to hunt and only with permission, which was rare. But a slave was allowed to buy and sell things, but it was very restricted. And it was completely forbidden for a slave to sell sugarcane because that's what they were sent there to do, harvest the sugarcane. Now, of course, they were completely forbidden from gathering in groups for any reason. It don't matter what it is. And we still kind of like that today. We don't like to gather in groups and work together. But if a slave hit somebody white or resisted in any kind of way or caused any kind of harm to a slave owner, his wife or children, it was immediate execution. If somebody tried to escape and was gone for more than a month, for the first offense, their ears were cut off and they were branded like you would brand a cow or something. If they tried to escape for a second time, their hamstrings were cut and they were branded again. Now, if somehow they tried to escape for a third time, it was death. Now, if a free Black person gave aid to anybody, they were beaten by the slave owner and fined 300 pounds of tobacco for every day they gave shelter or helped them. And if they couldn't pay the fine, they were probably enslaved themselves. Now, the Code Noir did require slave owners to feed and clothe them, and it forced them to provide for the sick and elderly, which a lot of them didn't do because why would they want to provide for something that doesn't produce for them? But the law forced them to do so, even though it was rarely enforced. Now, if a slave owner accused a slave of a crime and killed them, then he was fined. Now imagine that. You probably get a harsher penalty today for killing a dog under that kind of circumstance. But back then you were simply fined. Now, even though slaves were not going to get any kind of fair trial, they were allowed to testify, but only for information. But of course, a slave owner could do anything they wanted to a slave, except for mutilate them. Now, with the French, any child born enslaved automatically was owned by the slave owner's wife. But a child couldn't be sold or separated from its mother until. All right. And oh yeah, by the way, for that one, remember how I tell you the most dangerous species, like they had a lot of slaves, and the children belonged to the other children, to their little kids and the white bitches too, you know. But each one they had a little bit different, you know what I'm saying? Like the way that they handle it, like how the French did in Haiti because of the population, how they used the mulatto group, right? The French, it was a lot of weird, let's be real, there's a lot of weird stuff going on with the mulatto thing in Louisiana, but that'll come later. But till at least 10 or 11 years old. Now,
I'm
of
back,
course,
big
you
dog.
remember. What'd you say?
No, I was just telling you I was back, man. We was over there doing something. I was just telling you
Yeah.
I was back. I was back. That's all.
Oh, all right, all right. Yeah, so I'm talking about the I don't know if you could hear what I was saying. I was talking about the Code Noir and like how Louisiana was, you know, made. They was like how to saying like Louisiana was being made by like slaves. And I also had a question too, right? Because you know how they had different tribes or whatever, right? And you know how they be like the population of Black people that was born into America is so and so, but a lot of stuff that they count for their statistics be like how they be like America can't is like Plymouth Rock and all that stuff, but that was only because it was the British and that was the British colonies which became America. So like when they say brought slaves in, does that count like the French? Does that count like the Spanish? Like when they be like the total number of slaves, or is that just the British? You know what I'm saying?
Okay, yeah. Hey, I was just it's ironic. I was just having a conversation last week about with this brother. He has they have a platform called We Charge Colonialism, and he was talking about the enslaved Africans in the English colonies, They was basically they was framing around since the it was okay how official slavery began in the English colonies around like 1607 or something like that. Like before then, they had been like indentured service. It was some they was talking about indentured servitude and slavery, and when it went from the indentured servitude to slavery. So I was saying to him that, well, in the 1500s, the Spaniards in the Spanish colonies in Florida and even as far as Louisiana, because at one time Louisiana was Spanish territory also. So I was saying, well, the Spaniards enslaved Africans too. Well, he was saying basically, well, I was just talking about in the English colonies, like what you was talking about. You know what I'm saying? He was just talking about the English colonies. And I was just like, well, I mean, that's kind of like an inaccurate way of looking at it. 'Cause like you say, the French had colonies in in the Louisiana territory, which extended from the state of Louisiana all the way up north to the Canadian border, and then Canada, because Canada was a French colony. But and all of these people enslaved Africans, and and I don't really know how to. Go ahead, man. If you through, man. Go. All right, I got it.
Yeah, no, I definitely, bro. Like, because that's what I was curious about, right? Because they count 16 or something because it's the British, right? That became that's why they do that, right? I don't think people even realize that. So the number that they be like they brought such and such amount of slaves to America, does that only count the British slave? Does that not count the French? Does that not count the Spanish, and what they was doing? So I don't know. I don't know if they do or they don't, but
What I think forecast is that I think that they only count the British from American from America deriving from the British colonies, what was then the 13 colonies, and then after they fought each other and created the American Republic. I think that the people of the American Republic only count the enslaved Africans that the British brought. You know what I'm saying? And
well, if that's
I
the
mean,
case, they're not telling how many then.
yeah, but like in Louis, like I know for in Louisiana, in Louisiana for a fact, they all right, man. In Louisiana, the French they had, I mean, they were meticulous to it. Like, they counted. I mean, they counted the Africans too. The Africans that they imported from Africa, the Africans that they imported from the Caribbean, and to a large degree at that time, I think that the British at that particular time, the British had pretty much like taken over the slave trade, from the Spaniards, the Portuguese, the French. A lot of time, I think they got a lot of their Africans from the British. You know what I'm saying? They had these deals together where they were do trading from Cuba and from various points in the Caribbean. Because a lot of those Africans that were brought to the United States, what is now the United States here in North America, many of them were brought from the Caribbean and brought from the British colonies. You know what I'm saying? It was shipped to places like Louisiana. You know what I'm saying? Where the French brought Africans from the British who were brought from that particular part and everything. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, it was a real complicated kind of a system that they had going. If they kind of clarify a little bit some things for you.
Yeah, that's definitely interesting. Like that's definitely an interesting point. So all right, I think it's only like a minute left in this part, so let me
With the
just
Pilgrims in Massachusetts, they passed a law that allowed young children to be separated from their families. But with the French, they at least waited till 10 or 11 years old, I guess. But anyway, if there was a child who was enslaved that was born due to rape, then he was taken away from the slave owner, and I'm assuming the mother, but they were still going to be in bondage. But the slave owner was simply fined. Now we can see that all of these different European countries have different methods. The English, the French, the Spanish, the Portuguese, especially how they used their children in slavery. And they all had different methods, but they were all just as cruel as the next. Now, as Europeans conquered more land and enslaved more people, the slave population.
All right, yeah, we're gonna do that next time because then of course what's is inevitable is black people fighting back. So we already know what's next, you know. So that needs to be its own things. But let's see. Of course, we had what I just said, the Code Noir, right?
The Louisiana Code Noir promulgated in 1724.
All right, we already learned about it, so we can do that, right? But of course, we know modern day, and I don't know if you want to say something else too before we go forward too. But let me see. We're gonna talk about the modern day code noir.
Go ahead.
All right. Now, right. So check this out, right? Now this cop then shot a brother here, and I'll play this one.
Looking for tax help?
Right, we see the beginnings of modern policing and stuff like that. Or
Former Fairfax County Police Officer Wesley Shiplet is free after receiving a commutation from Governor Glenn Youngkin.
This after Shiplet was sentenced to 3 years behind bars after shooting and killing an unarmed man outside of Tyson's Mall back in 2023. Fox 5's chief legal correspondent Katie Barlow live outside the Fairfax courthouse tonight with the latest. Katie?
Hey guys, Governor Glenn Youngkin called the 3-year prison sentence unjust and ignoring the probation officer's recommendation for no time. Shiplet was acquitted of involuntary manslaughter last October, but the jury found him guilty for reckless handling of a firearm. Today, Timothy McCree Johnson's mother, Melissa Johnson, spoke out after sitting through a grueling 7-day trial where sometimes multiple times she watched the final moments of her son's life on police body cam footage. Today, she said she was satisfied that for now, Shiplet's conviction still stands and that he spent at least 1 day behind bars.
I feel like we achieved justice for Timothy Johnson. He is a convicted felon, and he cannot be a police officer again. He cannot carry a gun, and let them deal with the appeal.
Shiplet's lawyer Caleb Kirshner says they're still considering their options on whether to appeal the conviction for reckless discharge of a weapon. Shiplet's team tried to get the case tossed after the prosecution played a portion of police body cam footage for the jury that was not admitted into evidence. The judge denied a mistrial. Today, the executive director of Back the Blue, a police advocacy organization, says she hopes that Youngkin's commutation sends a message.
I hope so. I hope it does, because we had 2 officers that lost their life in Virginia Beach recently, and I would wager to guess they were afraid of their weapon for the very reason that Wesley Shiplet pulled his. You know, we don't know. Officers don't know. We're in a climate. She was talking about the climate. And we're in a climate where an officer is afraid to do their job.
Well, then gun and badge, then turn it in, you know. Now, the thing is, though, I ain't see Nan Monk walking down the damn street at this time. I sure didn't. I didn't see nobody who gave a damn at this. In fact, y'all kept telling me to shut the hell up about all this stuff. I'm tired of seeing negativity all the time. That's what y'all kept saying. I'm tired of seeing negativity. Why you keep showing this kind of stuff? You know what I'm saying? Then the judge halts the sentencing to be like, yo, stop, don't sentence this dude. What's going on here?
On the trial for Andrew Lawson, the former Brevard County
And that's
Sheriff
and see, not 1 month.
friend and fellow deputy while playing a video game was back in court today. He was supposed to be sentenced to breaking news just into the newsroom on the trial for Andrew Lawson, the former Brevard County Sheriff's deputy who admitted to shooting and killing his friend and fellow deputy while playing a video game was back in court today. He was supposed to be sentenced to 7 years in prison. But after hearing victim impact statements for hours today, the judge says he is not sentencing Lawson. He wants a new plea to be negotiated or it to go to trial. As part of this new decision, Lawson and
No, that's white on white crime here. A cop shot his own friend. He was like, after hearing testimony, I'm like, even though he's found guilty, I'm gonna halt all of this stuff, bro. That's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah, until they learn, we're gonna keep talking about negativity, right? Because listen, I ain't seen not one freaking monk, you know what I'm saying? Look, man. Cause this is just throughout history. This is stuff that I stopped playing, you know what I'm saying? Because they kept crying. Oh, I'm tired of now you want to talk about negativity, huh? Ain't my problem.
Tonight we're learning more about a police shooting that left.
Oh, you can jump in too whenever you want to, my brother.
Megan McPherson joins us to tell us more about what happened on Saturday. Megan.
Mary, this cul-de-sac community is a tight-knit one, and today I spoke to neighbors who are still processing what happened over the weekend. They tell me they never could have seen this coming. This close-knit cul-de-sac community in Pleasant Hill still visibly shaken after a police call turned deadly this weekend.
Nothing's ever happened like this in this neighborhood.
Neighbors were enjoying a sunny Saturday afternoon when the commotion began.
Started hearing noises. My dog barked quite a bit. I let her out, and I just thought it was somebody who was pounding a post into the ground.
Jeff Batchelder had gone out to get some lunch, and when he returned,
Cop cars here, fire truck, ambulance.
Another neighbor across the street flagged him down.
I went over there, and she told me that two Polk County Sheriff's deputies had went through her house, and there was shots been fired. Sheriff's office!
Police say this all started when a 25-year-old man, now identified as Bradley Robert Van Heeswick, drove up to the cul-de-sac, parked in this driveway, and began opening fire at the home next door.
Now, basically, the cop that did this, I think, oh no, that might have been the wrong one. So my bad.
For this, he calls it oversight.
8 days after
I think the cop that did this.
2 days after he was sworn in, he's off the job.
Yeah, his firing comes after the police chief learned of homophobic and racist memes the department says the officer shared. The chief spoke with Fox 4's Malik Jackson today, who's in Pleasant Hill with the fallout tonight.
The chief of police here in Pleasant Hill is taking full accountability for this. He calls it oversight and a mistake, but he makes clear that this former officer does not represent this department.
It's totally our fault. We traditionally do a very comprehensive background. This time, we failed to do so.
28-year-old former officer Jacob Dean Smith had his first shift on patrol Monday.
Look at this football.
Hours after he started, the chief says he pulled Smith in. The concern from people in the community was centered on social media posts he had made. Those posts included negative political memes, homophobic memes, and a racist post that alluded to decapitation of Black people.
We found that very offensive, and so that's the one that we keyed in on.
The department launched an investigation, and as it was wrapping up, the chief says Smith resigned. In a statement, Mayor John King said, in part, please do not let one individual detract from the work they have accomplished in the last few years to make the Pleasant Hill Police Department what it is today.
Public trust is something that's very difficult to get.
Now, basically, what I'm trying to say is the police is the police. Welcome to America. Like, what the hell do you think has been going on for however many years it has been, you know? Like, because whenever dealing with the police for us is always dangerous, right? And then, of course, you have, this mayor here.
Allegations of systemic racism at the center of a new lawsuit against a township in New Jersey, its police department, and a former mayor. That criminal complaint filed by the state.
America isn't going to be America. I don't know what is, right?
Leaders.
Not an outrage. And you know what? All of this stuff, like no peace walks and stuff. You know how many peace walks we done been on, but now this is a once in a lifetime event because you got some damn Denisovans, you know what I'm saying, which is Asian, which is Denisovan. It's looking their blood. I didn't say it. It's just their DNA, you know. They walk down the street. Oh Lord Jesus. I can't wait to go see them. blocking up the damn street and everything. You know what I'm saying? But I ain't seen not one peace walk besides us walking up and down the damn street talking about some damn peace. I thought we've already learned that sitting there marching back and forth ain't gonna do nothing. I thought that's what we learned already. You know what I'm saying? They shot Martin Luther King in the face. I don't want to get shot in the face, so I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do that. You know.
Instructed officers to keep Black people out of Clark. And the state attorney general says Clark leaders put policies in place with that goal in mind. New Jersey reporter Tony Yates live this evening in Clark with details on these disturbing allegations. Tony?
Yes, Sandra, we reached out to the current mayor of Clark, Angel Albanese. The township clerk said that the mayor would have no comment about the attorney general's complaint, which is asking for, among other things, continued oversight of not only the township, but of the police department as well.
The investigation into discrimination in Clark Township has been ongoing for years now. The Union County Prosecutor's Office assumed control over the police department back in 2020 after a whistleblower's recordings documented racist remarks by former Mayor Salvatore Bonacorso and police leaders at the time, and numerous complaints were filed by the public against police. Attorney General Matt Platkin and the Division on Civil Rights says Clark officials systematically discriminated against and harassed Black and other non-white drivers, and that those efforts were led.
See, learn the language that they use all the time. They use certain language. That's why even when I try to tell you in their laws, they be like persons, right? The amendments and stuff. It says persons. I'm trying to tell you, the 14th, 15th Amendment, they try to be like, you come on here and tell me you are a citizen. And the only way you can say that is for the 14th, 15th Amendment. And we'll get to that eventually. But I'm trying to say, I'm the one saying it, that that's not for Black people. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you that businesses, freaking Target is more for Target to be a person than you, right? Because anytime that you have ever been referred to a person within their law, is that you're not a person. So they specifically put in persons should not, you know what I'm saying? They specifically say certain things, you know what I'm saying? Europeans that's just what they do. Like, I don't understand it, you know what I'm saying? That's just how they think. And they use specific language, you know what I'm saying? Like it's some kind of loophole, like it makes it right or something, you know what I'm saying? Because they don't have the natural whatever, you know, but anyway, bro, you want to say something?
It's just like it's just like the like the red man told me. He said, you know, this white man speak with four tongues. You know what I'm saying? Red man told the black man this shit. Black man don't want to believe it. You know, even today.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? This motherfucker speak with a four tongue. You know what I'm saying? He's the master of double talk. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, the Constitution said this here, but the Constitution don't mean a goddamn thing unless that shit can be enforced. You know what I'm saying? And that enforce mean unless you can enforce it, unless your black ass can enforce it. You know what I'm saying? Because that's why the police do what they do, because they got a law behind them. You know what I'm saying? And we started running around this motherfucker talking like, I'm a U.S. citizen, I'm an American citizen, I bled and died for America and all this shit. You was a goddamn fool. You know what I'm saying? Somebody, I fought in all the wars and all this shit. You was a damn fool for fighting in all the motherfucking wars over there. When you get there turning the motherfucking gun on the motherfucker who was fucking with you. You know what I'm saying? You was a goddamn fool. I told my brother there now, you know, hey man, I don't mean no disrespect. You know, like my brother, he was a military guy. I know a lot of brothers military. I said, but you was a goddamn fool. All y'all some goddamn fools fighting over there. Well, we fight for America. You know, I mean, because he didn't have that kind of, he didn't know. And so I sat him down and talked to him. And, you know, like, damn, man, you know, that makes sense. But I'm just saying, you know, I don't give a damn how much legislation and all this shit. This what Negroes do. They think, oh, it's legislation, you know, it's on the books and it's all those old shit. That don't mean a goddamn thing. Look here, I don't care however long you in this motherfucker. White people would never see you as one of them. They would never see you as a full human being, they damn sure they ain't gonna never see you as an American citizen. That's why I tell Negroes, an American is a white European settler who came over here and set up some shit. That's what an American is. You know what I'm saying? In Canada, that's what a Canadian is. In Australia, that's what Australian is. Them black folks in Australia didn't call themselves no goddamn Australians. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's a definition of a white psychopath who came over and killed people and their descendants.
Yeah, and next thing you know, it's called America. You know what I'm saying? But I mean,
Let's call it
see,
America.
yeah, but I'm see, but white, it just like right now, man. Me, you, Madron, Cassandra, we could leave America, go to Europe, go anywhere around the world. You know, and people ask, you know, what they ask us. The first thing they ask you from Africa? You know, the first thing gonna be black. You know what I'm saying? They the first thing they all gonna say is you from America. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of our accent. Now, a white boy do the same thing. Oh, you know, he don't talk like a Frenchman or a British or what. Oh, yeah, that's American. They know who they are. You know what I'm saying? They know who these people are. But when they see, but what I'm telling you, you got to learn that ain't what you is. You're not them. You're not them. And if you're not them abroad, you damn sure ain't gonna be them right here. And so what the hell you expect when all this shit happening to you? You thinking like, oh man, they can't do all this, you know. It's the reason why that like Medgar Evers got shot and killed in front of his motherfucking family, and then they went to court and it took 50 years, you know, to send the man to jail. You know what I'm saying? Because they look out for each other. They look out for each other. There's a reason why the police can shoot your ass and get away, and then somehow he was in fear of his life. Or you can't the police, white folks talking about we don't want the police doing his job and be scared to do his job. You know what I'm saying? There's a reason why they look out for each other. And you know, and we just you gotta realize, like I tell Negroes, man, the only way this shit gonna stop when you motherfuckers put some guns in your hand and start sniping some motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? And start sending some motherfuckers to funerals. You know what I'm saying? When you hear bagpipes on Saturday and Sunday, that's when that shit gonna slow down. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, if you're scared, turn in your gun and badge. That's all I can tell you. But you know, even though like, you know, all we see how these things is being developed, check this out. I know everybody been talking about the dude, but like I get it, right? Because we everything but black further. That's why I was be like, yo, imagine if that we had a fraction of the black soldiers fighting for black people. Like, which we did, you know what I'm saying? Like, which we leave out because we gonna go into these rebellions, how many black people did fight for black people, right? Which they purposely leave out, and you know what I'm saying? So all of these laws that's being created eventually leads to black people being like, nah, I ain't dealing with that, and I will kill you or to get out of it. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, like, so the KKK Act,
You
right?
called to
Your
John
boy
Murray's
has been
arrest over
arrested
his
under
in
it,
Minneapolis.
and
He
then
since called you
y'all been
racist,
talking about this
homophobic, and out of your depth.
chick here.
Anything you'd like to say to Don Lemon? Cocksucker, stop.
No.
Look, I stand proud and I stand tall. This is not a victory lap for me because it's not over. They're going to try again, and they're going to try again.
I don't know. Anyway, you want to say something, bro?
That shit was just hilarious to me, man. That's
I
how
don't know what's going on here. I can't comment. It's like too
fun as
much.
hell to me. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna pass that one back right there.
Hey, look, I ain't bring this up this whole time because it's too much integration then got up into this conversation.
When I just see the video, I was like, what the hell you showing this shit for?
Because we love everybody. We the national love everybody crowd. You know what I'm saying? Right? We love everybody, and everything that we talked about, right? Like pan-Europeanism and like how they put aside their tribal differences to be able to stand up, right? But somehow that we can't put aside our tribal, we're everything but black. You know what I'm saying? We are Democrat, we are gay, we are friggin' American, we are you know, whatever it is that you can put above blackness, we are that. We are men, women, all that type of stuff. We can put all of that stuff you know what I am? I'm black. You know what I'm saying? I don't align with no other man before I do a black woman. What are you crazy? Like, I don't know what we smoking. You know what I'm saying? Um, but somehow, right? Negroes always have to put our necks on the line for somebody else, right? Always, you know.
Realize why it's easier to criticize me for telling black people to stop resting and we need to wake the fuck up and making videos about me and make
Now, get this point. We've been on here for years and years saying this, and they said, no, stop with all this negativity. Stop with all this negativity. But now that they be like, it's not the police that we're talking about. It's not the police. It's whatever this ICE thing is. You know what I'm saying? Now everybody's now everybody's a political activist, and which is lovely. How about that? You know what I'm saying? If that's what it took for you to wake up. Now, if we can only stop this speech impediment by saying "and brown and brown and brown," you know what I'm saying? Whatever tick that is that we got picked up in our language, because I don't even think that's not even new. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that is new, is what I'm saying. That's new. We didn't used to say "and brown" in anything. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't even think I can go back to the '90s and hear them keep say "and brown" as much as we say today. You know what I'm saying? Since really the last 5 years or so, you know. But I'll put this on there for some of these brothers who feel this way very strongly.
in my comment section typing paragraphs. Why it's easier to do that than to actually do something about this shit. Because a lot of y'all actually don't give a fuck about black men. And second of all, a lot of y'all just want to make content so you can get some views because you see something trending on the TikTok and you get a little bit of views. Trust me, the money ain't money no more. The TikTok money ain't worth you selling out your whole fucking soul and your whole community of black people. And to the point of y'all hating black men, the reason I know this for a fact is because now that ICE is dropped in Compton, y'all don't hear giggling for shits and giggles, talking about some, oh, they dropped in Compton on Melrose? Not on Melrose. They here for they about to have a truce.
ICE or the police, man.
They about to go to war. Shut the fuck up. You fucking idiots. You see how easy it is for y'all to not care about black men bodies being on the front line no more? How easy it is.
Wait, hold on. Is our body supposed to be on the front line? Hold on. What does this statement mean? Let's analyze this. Do we not care about black men's bodies being on the front lines no more, right? Because from what I recall, when we call them the police, right? You know, that was the only ones who was involved. You know, like Mason said, ICE agents are rejects of the militant police force. They are the most scared and afraid white people, military police force.
For y'all don't want black men to be bullet bags again? How y'all want sparks flying in the neighborhood where it's children playing? How y'all don't see the hood as a motherfucking community? How y'all don't see how it's children playing? It's motherfucking grandma's western. It's black people, brown people living in conjunction, running businesses in Compton, running businesses in historically black neighborhoods, and y'all want to fucking shoot out. Y'all want bullet bags. Y'all want body bags. Y'all don't give a fuck about the black community.
Now he want us to go stand up to them so that I don't know what he's saying here. I guess he's saying if we're gonna do nothing, they're going to shoot us, right? I don't know where he's been, right? You know what I'm saying? He must not have like been driving at like 11:30 at night and the police get behind you, and you know what I'm saying? And a lot of brothers out there might be riding dirty, quote unquote, according to their, because you know they can make billions of dollars off the same quote unquote dirty that you riding with. You know what I'm saying? Like, see, none of the bodies that we've been talking about for all of this time counted, right? Y'all called me racist. Y'all said I was racist for all of this stuff. You know what I'm saying? That I'm extreme. I'm the extremist. Y'all call Khalid Muhammad extreme. He's racist. I stayed away from that. All of a sudden now we want to militarize and fight and stand up. Ain't that something? The same ones that be like, yo, you was going too far talking about all of these brothers who was on the front lines all the time. Like now, all of a sudden, I don't know who front line, who you want us to be on here though. See, which side are we on? Be on?
Hey, but these Negroes ain't talking about being on the front line with some guns. They talking about being on the front line protesting. You know what I'm saying? That's what they talking
walking for
about.
peace.
Yeah, it's about protesting. You know what I'm saying? I mean, this is where we at, man. This is the mentality. Now look at, I'm gonna show you something. I done seen this person up close, man. I can remember back in the 90s. Cause see, we had, and I know y'all had the same thing out there in Richmond too, man. You know, we had, the Crips and Blood thing here. You know what I'm saying? And it's still here. But I'm just saying, I could see brothers would die for their flag. You know what I'm saying? Would kill for their flag, would die for their flag. And I'm like, a brother would go to another neighborhood, you know, him and a couple of his boys, would go there and do some dirt over there, you know what I'm saying? With no fear at all. But all of a sudden, when it comes to this honky, we got fear and put the guns up. You know what I'm saying? We go hide the motherfucking guns. You know what I'm saying? It's easy for you to pull a trigger. I done been shot before. A brother shot me. I done been shot. I know how bullet feel. You know what I'm saying? A brother, easy to pull a gun out and get mad, drunk, high, whatever, you know what I mean? And blame it on whatever, and pull a gun out and shoot a brother, man. And they could do that. Them Crips and Bloods in LA, them gangsters, they could do that. They could terrorize the neighborhood. They could do all of that shit. But when it comes to the white boy, this cracker, now you motherfuckers want to protest. Now you motherfuckers want to join the movement. You know what I'm saying? Where that smoke at, man? Where them AK-47, them AR-15s, and all this shit, all them guns y'all be busting on New Year's. You know what I'm saying? It sounds like y'all got enough guns to fill an army. You got an army. You call yourself the Blood Army, the Crip Army. But you ain't got no motherfucking army when it comes to this honky. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to shoot his motherfucking ass. That's what I'm saying. Why? Because you don't value your own motherfucking life. You talking about you don't give a damn about black people, nigga. You don't give a damn about black people. You don't give a damn about black men. You don't give a damn about us, nigga. Because you ain't, hey, you will kill us in a minute when it come to me and you. But you won't kill this motherfucker these motherfuckers who got their foot on our motherfucking neck, who got us in the chokehold. So, man, when I hear that type of shit, man, I'm like, this foolishness, man. I don't be wanting to hear that bullshit, man.
You got
I don't want
to,
to hear
bro.
that bullshit, man. Huh? I don't want to hear that shit.
I had to, bro. You got to, bro.
Yeah, we got to hear it. But I'm just saying, I'm talking about from him. I'm talking about this motherfucker with this fake militancy, with this fake, with Dr. Amos Wilson, this falsification of African consciousness. You know what I'm saying? Like they really conscious and saying something. You ain't saying a motherfucking thing. You know what I'm saying? Nigga, you stop that bullshit, nigga. You niggas go there and do some shit. You know how y'all go to the secret plan and mean when y'all finna go over to the Blood Hood or to the Crip Hood and do some shit? But do that shit when it's finna come to these motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? But nah, we ain't. It's like Dr. Collins said, white boy come through, this cracker come through, you can hear a rat pee on cotton. You know what I'm saying? These niggas make me sick with this bullshit, man. And I done seen it so many times. I participated in it when I was young. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we all
These
do,
niggas
bro.
make me sick, man. Go ahead, man.
That's the thing. That's why it's important to be in control of the institutions, because we be in it before we even know it. You know what I'm saying? And this is why I be like, I'm not as hard on because I would classify this as clone behavior, though. You know what I'm saying? And I don't blame him necessarily. You know what I'm saying? To be like with the same, but it is weak kind of behavior. You know what I'm saying? And I be disappointed. Like you brought it up, right? And to bring it back to the history and tie in what you said and with the history, you talked about that Treaty of Utrecht or whatever, that made this the first kind of pan-Europeanism, right? And you brought up the Bloods, which was originally supposed to be this army meant to protect black people, which to replace the Black Panthers and all of this stuff. But then we let other groups co-opt and infiltrate and black end whoever other group we want to put in. And now we have this division where we always have our guns turned on each other, you know what I'm saying, instead of on the direction it's supposed to go, right? And for some reason, we find it so much easier to stand up for other groups than we can for ourselves, you know what I'm saying? And the lack of being in charge of these institutions leads us to this division we have amongst ourselves where we can argue about all sorts of things, and it makes it harder for us to stand up for just ourselves, right? But I don't know. I don't get the whole thing about always wanting to stand up for other people. I don't get that part, but I don't know. I have to figure that part out. I'll let them say.
As soon
I'll
as
let
you
them say
see
that.
it in DC, LA, Chicago, then you like, oh, okay, well, it's cool. And then when I speak up about it, it's fucking crickets. And then as soon as 2 white folks get shot in Minneapolis, now y'all talking about some, well, black people been arrested. It don't got to be national news. All you got to do is open up your ears, because me and a lot of other creators been talking about this shit forever. As soon as they said that they're going to drop in Philly, y'all talking about, Philly don't
It's
play
not
them.
very creative, bro.
Now y'all don't give a fuck about the black people being on the front lines. They in the front lines because they in the neighborhoods. I keep on fucking telling y'all the front lines is our neighborhoods. It ain't no fucking going out to the front lines. The front lines came to your fucking doorstep, and y'all getting on my fucking nerve. When I never in my videos now.
But the problem is he thinks that the thing came to his doorstep in what 2024 or whenever the election thing was. He doesn't realize it came to his doorstep in 1430 something. You know what I'm saying? As far as I can remember, as far as I can see, probably earlier. That's when it came to his doorstep. And that's the disconnect, right? I- It's not a new thing, right? But this is the lack of education being brought up by white teachers, especially white bitches, as your teacher, right? And then along with our spookism, right? We're so spooked out. You mix miseducation with spookism, then you get this love everybody dumbass attitude that we see here. You know what I'm saying?
Not once told black people you need to be on the front lines. The problem is you're not on the front lines, you're not on the back lines, you're not on the phone lines, you're not on no email lines, you're not on no fucking cable lines, you're not on shit.
Oh man, it's in
You're
there in
not
the
on
road.
shit. There's plenty that you could be doing in your communities to help these motherfuckers or to fight back against this shit.
Yeah, supporting the Queen Thais. She got a black school. We could. I know some brothers who's like helping build gardens and stuff. Like we can get into a group and put our money together and get like a black credit union. You know what I'm saying? I think you need to have like 150,000 instead of the money that we put into whatever it is, the church or um political campaigns. You know what I'm saying? We could have took a couple that millions and made like 10, 20 banks that quick. You know what I'm saying? Instead of putting into a political thing who's going to give your money to other banks, you know what I'm saying, and call it reparations. Not to say no names or nothing like that, but it's plenty of stuff that we could have been doing, but it's a little bit too late for that now, I think. You know what I'm saying? If you ain't got your water, good luck with that, getting your water now. So
Shit.
we're
Without
gonna
being
die of thirst over here.
but you ain't
Consider
on
good
shit.
though.
Because I've been screaming on this app since last May. ICE is in neighborhoods in Southeast DC. They raiding apartment buildings. They're going down
He's
with
new
ICE,
here.
ATF, FBI agents all in conjunction, throwing out people liquor bottles, running their pockets, taking they.
See, and that's the thing. He was like, and if you ask him, he probably don't even know how the FBI got started, right? J. Edgar Hoover, who got his claim to fame by taking out Marcus Garvey, right? Who then created the FBI strictly to stop the rise of the Black Messiah, who was he brought here to tell you that you ain't got no damn friends and you all you got. You know what I'm saying? And to actually put it in your head to make something that's a physical change instead of praying and hoping for a damn change and inviting other people into your organizations and into your community. If I can't even be friends with my brothers, how am I be friends with somebody from another country? Well, I ain't gonna say another country in this context, but from another clan.
Taking what they smoking, and it's legal, it's decriminalized, and they over there harassing people, chasing people in apartment buildings. They did an apartment raid in Chicago. I'm gonna keep bringing it up every fucking time. You just saw
Welcome
a
to the
black
club.
father
I'm glad you're here now.
having
Maybe
his
it's a
kids go to
blessing, I
basketball
guess.
practice. His 6 kids and one of them a 6-month-old baby that stopped breathing because ICE decided to tear gas the fucking car. And y'all sat there and said, this is not our fight, we wrestle. Ain't nobody asked you to be on no fucking front lines. I asked you to care. I asked you to be enraged, passionate about something other than your fucking self enough where you find someone.
Yeah, we've accomplished it. That's why Casidro was on. I brought Casidro on here. That's why I want my brothers to come on here. This is why I show the stuff. How we ain't mad. James Baldwin said it back then. How is a black man that's aware ain't mad?
Poor cat.
Hmm?
Poor cat. Did you hear what he said, man? Did you catch that?
What?
Look back, man. He mentioned two things, man. He said the ICE agents was in DC, and he said they were throwing away niggas liquor bottles. Hey, and they marijuana. Hey, out of all the things that ICE doing, that they say ICE doing, all of the bullshit, he found it able to sneak in weed and liquor bottles. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I mean, you can't. Hey, look here, man. Did you see that came out of his mouth, man? He said, "Roll it back." He said, "Weed." He said a lot of shit, but he also throwed in a weed and liquor bottles, making them throw away their liquor bottles and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Man, that's some shit that we used to do on the corner back in the day. Drinking on our 40s and well, the police come through and make you throw your ball away. Oh, goddamn, I'm mad. Or throw your weed away or get you for your weed. You know what I'm saying? That's some Negro shit, man. You know what I'm saying? That's why I don't take Negroes like that serious, man. I don't take them like that serious. No, that ain't no, you an activist and all this shit. No, man. Man, motherfucker, man, because motherfucker made them throw their weed and alcohol away. You know what I'm saying? He became an activist because the police made him throw a beer bottle and his weed away. You can't take these niggas seriously, man.
Yeah, I mean it's like gaslighting, man. Like we haven't been saying all this stuff, you know. Well, I'll let him finish.
Somewhere where your skills, your mindset, something that you can do to advance this progression of us fighting back.
Oh,
But y'all
welcome to
keep
the
on saying
club.
it's not our fight. But when they shot somebody in Compton, now it's they in for it now. The gang's gonna get together. They're gonna shoot them folks. They gonna go to vote. There's black children in that neighborhood in Compton. Y'all keep on thinking of the hood like it's not no fucking children walking around, like it's not everyday people walking around, like it's not single mothers walking around. And you want bullets flying? Y'all want an all-out war with these folks in a neighborhood that's filled with black and
Who's gonna tell him, bro? You have been in one for like 600 years, and he just realized it. Yeah, which is fair, like, because if I was the person who was in control of my enemy's children, I would want them to not even know that there is a war on them. Which means like that probably means the dude Trump dropped the ball, right? Because now he got people more awake, too much awake, you know. So uh, that's interesting, right? You know, he's welcome to the show, brother. You know,
brown people. Like I told y'all, most of the people getting shot, the black people, is in their neighborhood. I told y'all, I shot at a dude on Benning Road in Southeast DC.
look, all right, I'll stop it there, right? And you know what? This is all I can say to this brother here, yo.
Officer stops you. Always be polite and never ever run away. Promise mama you'll keep your hands inside. Is it a gun? Is it a knife? Is it a wallet? This is your life. It ain't no secret. It ain't no secret.
So if somebody tell you about ICE, I want you to send this to them.
Get killed just for living in your American skin. Oh.
And so the next time that brother got that to say, if y'all talk about ICE, this is all I can say to y'all, you know. Brother, you want to say something?
No, man, that was just funny as hell.
You know, one more time before they be like, yo, don't you care about the immigrants? What about the immigrants?
If an officer stops you, always be polite and never ever run away. Promise mama you'll keep your hands inside. Is it a gun? Is it a knife? Is it a wallet? This is your life. It ain't no secret. It ain't no secret. No secret, my friend. You can get killed just for living in your American skin. Oh.
All right, that's the best advice that I can give you today. Because I tried to tell you yesterday, but that's all the advice I have for you today. But
she's singing to the woman who called her super predators. To the super predator, the woman who called her super predators. You know, your American skin, now your black skin, motherfucker. Go tell the truth.
hey, listen, don't run. Like when the white boy was like, "Is it a bullet? Is it a?" You shouldn't have ran. You know what I'm saying? They should have listened to Mary's advice. That's all I could tell the white boy and the white girl. So, and keep your hands inside or whatever advice they've been giving us all this time. Well, ain't they gonna take their own goddamn advice, or is it just for us? Oh, we don't want supposed to be taking it, and we gotta. I know it's bad for us, but for right now, we just got to make sure that it don't get too bad. You know what I'm saying? We got to make sure that it's just cool for us though, right? You know what I'm saying? That's the advice that we've been getting this whole time, but that's not good advice, is it? So that means y'all been telling us some BS this whole time. Y'all been gaslighting us, and y'all knew better, right? You had one person go down, and now it's a revolution where it shouldn't really need to be happening. You got monks walking down the damn street, blocking up traffic, and it's they walking for peace or whatever, yo. But it was just peaceful up until now. Now is a damn problem. You know what I'm saying? No, the problem is, kid, I don't know what you're doing. Pull yourselves up by your bootstraps. I don't know what to tell you. You know what I'm saying? Don't make no sudden movements. You know what I'm saying? Y'all need to start having a talk, I guess. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. That's the advice you gave me. I don't know. Watch this, yo.
Because
So
these
for this brother, you know what I'm
right
saying?
here are
That's what
very
he's saying.
concerning. But then coming from white women, white people, they would publicly.
Time to help people.
This is for the brother here about the people they want to help. You know what I'm saying? This is what they say.
Now, we all know why they are dropping this comment. I don't want to pretend out. Now, one of them, the first comment that we read, the white woman apologized, which I'm going to show you.
This is why. Because right now, all they're doing is just waiting it out. They wanted to go back to what they call normal.
She said, no, they just said, can we just go back to regular police brutality? That's what they're trying to say, right? Well, we can just be quiet again and we can just get online and just have these dumbass conversations over and over and over. Can we just go back to but now I'm tripping, right? You know what I'm saying? Like now it's going too far. And now it's too far. You know what I'm saying? Not the thousands and thousands of brothers that I showed on this thing here where people used to reach out and be like, yo, thank you for even talking about my family member who got shot by the police, because nobody even talking about it. It's like so many countless black people that died that we'll never even know. Not even talking about back in the day when we couldn't even take records. I mean, like right now, you know what I'm saying? Like if you go on there and be like unarmed black men shot in probably 2026, you'll probably see six or seven right now. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't even talk about most of them, right? But this is what they want. This was comfortable. this was comfortable enough for us, you know what I'm saying, to talk about some damn lesser of two evils and have debates online about some BS, you know what I'm saying? But now it's too far. Now we gotta put it whatever we think to the side and wait till 8 more years for millions of us to get killed. You know what I'm saying? We can't have one of somebody else to get killed though, you know what I'm saying? Listen, Mary J. Blige gave you the best advice I can give.
Because us being brutalized in the streets and murdered in the street was normal to them. And this is the reason why I will not be tricked into fake ass solidarity like some of you Black folks on this app have been tricked into fake ass solidarity. It's not real. It's a facade. Because this is how they really feel. This is what they want. They want it to go back to not affecting them. They're just waiting it out. So we're going to wait it out. Because no matter how racist, how hateful y'all can still be, even though y'all see how much that is a detriment to your whole existence, and you are still being this hateful and this racist, your reign is over.
I don't even know what to say. I don't even know what to say. I literally LOL'd, not because I found it funny, but because it just caught me off guard. And then this one, can we just go back to regular police brutality, please? And this person claimed to be a leftist, but they have been chased off of the threat.
Oh, she was a good one.
They did claim to be a leftist. And so as a leftist, you were okay with the status quo when it was only Black and brown people being brutalized. And then people wonder, people actually no, they don't wonder, and they do not act confused. They act obtuse as to the reasonings why the 92% says, hey, we are resting. You guys have this one. Okay. We refuse to be your meat shields. And then people just are all up in arms, like, oh my gosh, you guys can't do this. You guys can't sit this out. And they're like, hey, watch me. I will absolutely sit this out.
And yeah, y'all are actually never beating the allegations, because genuinely what? And I cannot stress this enough. The fuck is this? Are we dead ass? I need to know specifically what neurons in your brain or lack thereof made you think it was a good idea to type this out, reread it, check for punctuation, say, yep, this the one, and hit post. Can we be for real? Old girl really said, hey, so do y'all mind if we go back to when the police were just killing Black and brown people? Because now ICE agents are killing people who look like me.
She got the M Brown tick too in her speech impediment.
And it's like, I can't ignore this. This is too spicy. Can we go back to the unseasoned stuff? Because y'all know that's what we need. We can't handle all this spice. Y'all will say shit like this and then in the same breath ask where Black people are and why we're not on the front lines protesting. Maybe because we're tired of y'all using us like a human fucking shield. Hello? I saw a white man make a video earlier this week talking about do Black Americans know that they're also kidnapping Black Americans? Yes, Matthew. We do know that. What we would like to know is how are you using your privilege to help fight what is and has always been happening in this country? The reality is y'all are still waiting and hoping for Black people to put our lives on the line to help fix problems that y'all not only created, but have sustained for years, because none of this is new. Y'all are just now paying more attention to it because it's starting to affect people who look like you. Let's be so fucking for real. I'm going to hold your hand with a napkin in between when I say this. The days of Black people trying to single-handedly save this country are over. It's time for y'all to put in some work. Put down them friendship
single-handedly, no.
Stop making them fuck-ass resistance cakes. Use your privilege. And
We are doomed, y'all. Not single-handedly, but together we can take this country. Good luck with that. I guess this is the last thing, because I guess this is the best advice that I can give you besides Mary giving you the advice she gave you. I guess this is the other best advice I can give you.
Nigerian couple has been arrested after allegedly kidnapping ICE agents who had come to arrest them. Do y'all know who y'all just tried to arrest? How y'all gonna try to kidnap kidnappers? Them niggas Nigerian, nigga. Everybody know Nigerians kidnap niggas. ICE probably came to the door. They said, no, you come to capture. ICE probably came to the door. They said, no, you come to capture me and my family, we capture you. I will not go back. Hey, kidnap the sold us.
Oh damn, I was on mute. Well, I was gonna say, yeah, that whole kidnapping thing, that's a whole nother conversation about the Nigerians and kidnapping black people that they trying to make jokes
I
about.
said,
But
oh, gee.
that's a that's a long conversation. Like John Henry Clark said, that's a what do you say? It's too stressful, and I don't think I have the. I can have the mulatto one, but I don't think I can have the conversation about black people selling other black people into slavery. But yeah, you want to say something about my brother?
I see that. I see that. That video on. I see that on IG, man. Yeah. Oh, IG. I think I think she went, but she had the right idea, but she kind of got into some other shit, man. Some of that old FBA type shit, but yeah, but yeah, we can have
Yeah, I
that.
know.
We can have that conversation later, but because it ain't because when some people say that they say it coming from a particular place, man. But
Right,
yeah,
right, right.
but that shit was that shit was funny as hell to me though, man. I say the Nigerians kidnapped some ICE agents. I was like, what?
Yeah.
I said, I can't believe that. I seen it on IG. But yeah, it was just some shit I was just laughing at, man. Because you the way she was saying the shit, and then she was laughing, having fun with it. But like we can have them other conversations, though, man. I don't mind talking about that. Whatever, just let me know. We could talk about that. You know what I'm saying? And from
Yeah.
an intelligent point of view, and I don't know
Yeah.
some old play bullshit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm sure it's gonna come up in some of these history things. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, man. You want to say something else? Oh yeah, I would say too, man. Like, yeah, we was a part of the silent march. You know what I'm saying? You should have hit me up in 19. I did it in 1910 or whenever they did it. That silent march they had. You know what I'm saying? And look it up if you've never heard about it. Um, Yeah. Oh, I think we're tired of protesting and marching at this point. I thought it was canceled, but I guess now that some other people are getting slaughtered, that it doesn't matter. But I don't know. What you think though? You want to say like just to wrap up everything, like you can take as long as you want. It's all good.
Yeah. Okay. I think this right here, this bullshit right here. And I know I can see some of my brothers and sisters who, the liberal democratic, liberal Democrats, and I mean, all whatever. The brothers who got white friends and stuff, brothers and sisters who got white friends, and and think, we all in this together, all that shit. Let me tell y'all one thing. This shit is gonna blow over in another couple of weeks. Okay. Right now, what you seeing is white folks having a family internal struggle. You know what I'm saying? They having a family dispute. You know what I'm saying? That's what they're saying. These white folks gonna get their mind right. They're gonna come back to their senses. You know what I'm saying? These young white people. Well, okay. Like that other old bitch that old cracker bitch had said, can it just go back to regular police? You know what I'm saying? Killing brothers is listen. You know what I'm saying? They gonna get tired. After while that shit's gonna fizzle out. It's gonna fizzle out because you can best believe one thing. White people know that they know. Going back to what we saw about earlier in the program, they know that they only less than 10% of the population in the world. And America is the last strong white country that they have. There are no other strong white countries. France is not strong. England not strong. Ain't none of them strong. Can't none of them go do shit on their own. You know what I'm saying? They gotta have the co-signing with America and all that. Say, y'all support us and do this here. We're gonna go down here, do this here in Africa or wherever we gonna go. There ain't none of those countries strong enough to colonize to do nothing to nobody no more. America is the only white country that can actually do shit like that. America and Russia. I'm saying, but I'm talking about not these other little motherfuckers. So what I'm saying, white folks know that America is really the last strong country, the strong white country. They last resort. You know what I'm saying? And don't you ever believe that they're gonna say that they're gonna participate in overthrowing white folks rule in this country. Now, I'm not saying it's gonna come to, it ain't gonna never come to an end. And if it do, it's gonna be blood. It's gonna be a whole lot of massive bloodshed. You know what I'm saying? But what I'm saying, they're not gonna volunteer and help nobody else do that shit. You know what I'm saying? They gonna get back on code. You know, with the majority of white people, they gonna get on code. You know, with the American government, whether it's Trump or whoever else after him, and they gonna get together and they gonna cut that bull. Hey, we made a mistake. No, fuck this shit. No, we got to get back on code because we got to keep America. We got to keep America a strong white nation. You know what I'm saying? Because we the last strong white nation. We the end of the line. So if black folks run around talking about, and I understand, they not as educated as me and you. It's this kind of thing. So they run around saying, well, see that finally, white folks finally see what we've been going through, what we've been talking about. Man, that's a family dispute. They still don't give a fuck about what you talking about. You know what I'm saying? Because them same motherfuckers who was marching for the white bitch who got killed, I guarantee you, them motherfuckers will be with them people when they come to your motherfucking to your motherfucking ass to get you. You know what I'm saying? Because they know one thing: they will never pick anything over their race. They're not gonna pick no class shit over their race, no economics, no capitalism, all that bullshit that you hear Negroes talking about overthrowing and us working together. They're not picking none of that shit. They're gonna always pick their whiteness, go pick their race over that shit, over all the bullshit that you're talking about. So now this not the beginning of no new revolution. White folks seeing things where black people been preaching and telling, been marching and telling all that. This ain't no revolution. This a family internal struggle in a family, and pretty soon that shit is gonna be over with. White folks gonna be back on code. They're gonna reorganize. They're gonna get themselves together, and guess who's gonna be the target? The ones us who always have been the target. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, they gotta fuck around and get these other people out there to make it look good, but our black ass gonna be the target as we always been the black. We gonna always have that bullseye on our motherfucking ass, and they know that, and that's what they going back to. As soon as they get through with their little family internal struggle, this is not no revolution. White folks is not for to join black folks, and I don't care how many times you hear them talking about y'all come on out here with us. No, that shit ain't gonna happen. They don't mean that shit. That they gonna shut that shit down. And pretty soon they're gonna be going back in the fold. You know what I'm saying? You can believe that. They're going back in the fold. This shit is gonna be over with real soon. That was just a phase they were going through. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, man. And I will say this, and I'm not gonna say any more words, but shouts out, first of all, I will say shouts out to everybody who was in here. Shouts out to Matron who was in the building. Y'all make sure y'all subscribe and watch Matron. Um, shouts out to Cassandra who was in the building. Make sure y'all subscribe and watch her, and especially her documenting her trip. Y'all can follow her on Facebook or or her channel on here. And she actually got up out of here. So shouts out to Cassandra. Shouts out to RBG. Appreciate you being in here. Shouts out to my brother Guy. And definitely shouts out to my brother Anthony in the building. You know what I'm saying? I definitely appreciate you, my brother. And as far as protesting, my brother, all I can say is, this, and y'all should definitely watch this movie, The Education of a Negro. I keep forgetting the title, but I'll remember The Education of a Negro. But as far as the marching, this is all I can say,
Tonight on The Patriot Factor, we are here with special guest Darren Coates, pastor of New Love Worship Center. Pastor.
Thank you for having me, Sarah.
Thanks for coming. So, $10.5 million in property damages since the Brady trial ended. You have a question for those angry Black protesters out there.
The question I have for those protesters is that, do Black lives really matter? And I say no. Black lives does not matter. They won't not matter. And they can't not matter until Black on Black crime is eliminated.
Wow. Preach, preacher.
Blacks is confused. Don't nobody know what to do. Confused. What I'm gonna do? Am I gonna raise a fist? Or am I gonna march? Am I gonna march? Or am I gonna take a knee? Riot. Loot. What? And you know what the answer is, Sarah? Prayer.
Yes, Lord.
Prayer, Sarah. I get down on both knees. 2 knees, not one.
Yes.
And I pray. I pray that the same God who saw us through the middle passage will see us through this.
Amen.
Amen, sister?
Amen.
Amen.
Yes.
Amen. Amen. The same God, you know. I hope you don't got the KKK God, but you know me though. I can't let that be the last words. This definitely has to be the last words. We definitely spooked out. This got to be the last words though. Mary said it better. She said it better than anything that I could say. You know, somebody be like, "What about ICE agents? I told you about ICE." I want you to play this video for them because you can't say nothing better than this.
If an officer stops
Bring
you,
it, Mary.
always be
Amen.
polite and never ever run away. Promise mama you'll keep your hands inside. Is it a gun? Is it a knife? Is it a wallet? This is your life. It ain't no secret. It ain't no secret. No secret, my friend. You can get killed just for living in your American skin. Oh.
All right, so you wanted some American skin? You better keep your hands inside the vehicle at all costs. That's all I could tell you. But anyway, man, I appreciate y'all for listening. And as always, man, we have got to start standing for something, or we're going to keep falling for anything.
Peace out, everybody. Peace, consider matron, RBG, forecast.